I invite Councillor David Williams to respond.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for the petition, which, added together over several petition periods, has been allowed to come to the Council today so that we can debate the real political idealism that is the 20s Plenty Group's actions and the actual financial and unfounded and unrealistic costs that the 20s Plenty Group make. Staffordshire County Council does take road safety extremely seriously and recognises local concerns about drivers travelling at inappropriate speeds throughout all of our communities. Staffordshire maintains one of the safest highway networks in the country and targets available resources at road safety interventions that have the greatest impact. Most importantly, we liaise with our local communities to understand their individual aspirations and work collaboratively to tackle any road safety concerns. Our wider suite of road safety interventions includes a robust programme of targeted engineering schemes, including speed limit restrictions where required, support for communities to install speed indication devices, and engagement with the Staffordshire Safer Roads Partnership to deliver road safety training and education and community speed watch activities. I've also spoken with the Staffordshire Safer Partnership, who have actually said that enforcement of 20 miles an hour zones is not currently a viable option. All speed limits in Staffordshire are implemented in accordance with the current national guidance, which is setting out local speed limits, DFT Circular 01/2013. This guidance only advocates the use of 20 mile an hour speed limit or zones where pedestrians and cyclist movements are important and need highlighting. Hence, we use, in Staffordshire, advisory 20 miles an hour speed limits outside schools located on main roads. 20 mile an hour zones usually require physical traffic calming measures or repeater speed limit signing and/or roundel road markings at regular intervals, as well as terminal signing at each entrance and exit to a zone, with the associated traffic orders being implemented. Therefore, the costs to implement these schemes are dependent on the measures necessary to make the speed limit self-enforcing and on the number of entry and exit points to the new restrictions where appropriate road signs and markings are required. A recent report from the Department of Transport concluded that 20 mile an hour zones have made no impact on road safety and that drivers have reduced their speed by just 0.7 miles per hour within those zones. The study has been carried out over 4 years in 12 different areas, including parts of Winchester, Liverpool, Brighton, Portsmouth and Middlesbrough, where data could be collected before and after implementation of the 20 mile an hour zone. The cost for each zone ranged from a minimum of £10,000 through to 1.7 million and focused solely on zones with no other traffic calming measures such as chicanes, speed humps or directional rights of way. It was found that typically drivers ignored the signage, believing that the risks of being caught speeding was minimal, which led to just, as I said, a 0.7 miles per hour reduction in speed throughout the zone, with an overall reduction of 0.9 miles per hour in the surrounding areas approaching the zone. Within the study, it also found that the biggest contributing factor to an accident was failure to observe either as a pedestrian or a motorist, but the lower speeds should mean that a road user has more time to react to an accident, which in theory means a lessened chance of injury. However, it is that very reason that could also cause the problem. In road users having more time to react, it seems complacency was increased. Further still, and perhaps the biggest takeaway from the study, is that there's a small amount of evidence that shows an increase in driver frustration and distraction. The frustration part is purely a learned behaviour, but the distraction part could be drawn down to the need for constant checking of the speedo, ensuring that you're driving below the 20 mile an hour limit, taking concentration and certain amount of skill And with the influx of silent running electric vehicles, that could be made worse. There would be no engine notice guidance. The President of the AA has also said that we believe that targeted 20-mile-an-hour limits work best where they're needed, outside of schools or hospitals or places where other vulnerable road users may be encountered. Therefore, speed limits need to reflect the nature of the road.
Councillor Williams, can I ask you to wind up now, please?
There's only one other paragraph, but basically, Chairman, members, with no significant change in accident rates and no benefit to the environment, can local authorities, including parish councils, justifiably spend the amounts of money required to create these zones? For my own area of Penkridge, the minimum charge would be £32,000. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. We'll reach the time allocated for debating the petition. I know there are 8 other speakers wishing to speak, but I'm not going to call them. I therefore invite Councillor David Williams to respond.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you everybody for your contributions today. I think I think it's been borne out in the fact that, unfortunately, cars these days are quicker, but people are still duty-bound themselves to follow the highway code. It is up to them. Enforcement is not us. We do not enforce speed. That is the police. And just to put blankets 20 miles an hour speed limits in will mean absolutely nothing, in my view, because if they're not following a 30 miles an hour, why would they then start following the 20 miles an hour with no way of it being enforced and no way of it being properly monitored? In fact, I know that Community Speed Watch cannot have their guns redeveloped to enable them to look at 20 miles an hour. Some of the things that local members have said, actually they need to be working with their community highways teams to look at what physical barriers need to be put in place to ensure that people are safe if they feel it is unsafe. Part of that is to ask, when it comes to members, have they put in their traffic counts? They can pay for that, they can see what the actual speeds are. And in my case, when I've been doing a lot of this and looking at the results that have come out of these traffic counts, actually the speeding isn't there. It is more of a perception issue. I think realistically, what Staffordshire County Council does, and the fact that we are concerned about the state of our roads, that we are investing in it, that we are concerned about the safety of our people, and that we are one of the safest councils within the country. I think we're doing what we can. And unfortunately, I can't agree with Mr Worrell's proposition to put a 20-mile-an-hour zone over Leek. I don't think it's right, because it will lead to a blasé attitude of people. They won't look at it as what it is. We in Staffordshire use it to highlight issues such as schools, which is backed up by evidence, and that is why we do it. We want to make sure that our children and the people where we have it is safe, and to put in blanket 20 miles doesn't work. It's been proven it doesn't work. In fact, more people are having, according to the DFT, more people have accidents trying to watch the speedo and keep knocking things rather than actually driving properly. So, Mr Chairman, unfortunately I can't support Mr Worrell's petition on this one, but I can ensure that if the local member wants to work with the Community Highways team and utilise their DHP monies for safety issues, that their Community Highways team will work with them to do that. But that is to the local members to do such that. Same as the traffic counts, and the same as the fact that if members have issues where we're looking at traffic movements, as in Mr Smith's division, we've just put in a Lichfield Southern bypass to help with that, to keep vehicles out of the actual city itself. We are doing it. This Conservative-led cabinet is doing it at all times, and I have to say we are continuing to be one of the safest councils in the country. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Williams.